Right, so hello, welcome back to the channel. The Sandro Tonali punishment, it's so unfair because there's so many parties that it's unfair on, and if you've been living under a rock and don't actually know what's going on, Sandro Tonali, he was in a betting scandal and he's been banned for 10 months basically from all football, so he's out of the Euros, out for the rest of the Premier League, Champions League, everything. And before we get into that, if you'd like to give a subscribe and share the video around, it helps the channel out a lot. The support on the recent videos has been brilliant, so let's try and grow more, let's try and get to 300 subs as soon as we possibly can, but let's get back into it. The head of the Italian Football Federation have basically come out and said that when he was at AC Milan, Sandro Tonali, he was involved in a lot of betting scandals, betting on AC Milan games, which obviously you're not really allowed to do, and alongside that as well, he's the highest profile name, with the likes of Zaniolo of Aston Villa still being under investigation, and Fagiolo, who's at Juventus, given a 7-month ban. And look, I don't actually have a problem with him getting punished for what he's actually done, because it is fair. You can't really go out and bet on a lot of football games that you have involvement in, but at the same time, I think the punishment is far too extreme, because as I was saying, he's out for 10 months for putting on some bets. And look, I don't know exactly how many he's put on, the full extent of that, it's not really come out. And the likes of Zaniolo, who knows what his ban's going to be. Fagiolo's obviously got a 7 and 8 month ban, and then Ivan Toney got a 7-month ban as well, along with a massive fine. And these are all far too extreme for what they actually did. And you have people who are in the Premier League, playing week in, week out, who have done things that are far worse that I'm not going to get into. And there's so many names that could get thrown about for that, but hey ho, it's not been exactly proven. But at the exact same time, they're not getting suspended for anything. They've not been told, look, we need to take you away from it until everything's been resolved. No, just continue, play on. It's a joke. But yeah, I'm not going to go any further on that because everything is all allegedly and so forth. But I mean, come on. Overall as well, the Italian FA, they are always a lot stricter than the English FA, and that's just a fact because Italian football, it's had problems in the past as well, for match fixing, gambling problems there as well. The mafia have been involved, they have so many scandals. And you think to the back of 2005, 2006, when they relegated Juventus, they took away a bunch of their titles, and I can't see the English FA doing anything like that to Man City because it's not profitable for them, and they see it more as a profit organisation, a more capitalistic approach than the Italian FA, who just see it as, you've cheated, doesn't matter who you are, you're going to get punished for it. Because they stripped Juventus, relegated them, Juventus then came straight back up, took them a wee while, then they went and won 9 titles in a row, and now they're back in more trouble where they've had points deductions, they're banned from playing in Europe, and they're so strict on Juventus and a lot of the other Italian teams. But at the same time, Everton, they've done what? 1 or 2 breaches of financial fair play. Yes, they are quite big ones, but they're going to get a 12-point deduction plus this, that, whatever. It's mental because Man City have got 115 and nothing's been done yet. Chelsea have been playing around, and there's so many other clubs that they don't get a proper punishment if you're one of the big boys. Alongside this as well, AC Milan 100% knew what was actually going on, because there's no way that they would properly sell Tonali without negotiating. And look, I know they got 60-70 million for him and they took it and they ran, but they could have got a higher transfer fee for him and they went, nope, that's fine, yep, thank you. They knew, but they didn't want to help him out. They just wanted to get away from their punishment with the Italian FA and just go, nope, that's fine, that's Newcastle's problem, that's the Italian football team's problem, not our problem. It was so unfair. But the punishment for gambling, it is too extreme. Now look, as I said earlier on, I don't really think footballers should be gambling, but I'm not opposed to the idea of them gambling as long as they either have no involvement whatsoever in the game. Like, if Tonali is betting on the Hearts Rangers game, Let him bet on the Hearts Rangers game. He doesn't have any connections at either club. No one's got connections to Tonali there, so why can't he just bet there? Well, it is a bit of a sticky situation, but at the same time, I don't see anything wrong with it. I also don't see anything wrong if he wants to put himself as first goal scorer because he backs himself so much, or if he's betting on his team to win. If he's betting on them to lose, it's a completely different story, and that is a massive punishable offence. But if you're betting on your team to win, that's just self-confidence at the end of the day. And alongside that as well, first goal scorer, same sort of reaction. I think that the punishment for them, it should realistically be, for a first-time offender, a 10-game ban, a big fine, whatever people want to do about it, and alongside that as well, you've got to go for 6 to 12 months to a gambling rehab centre, and then work on your actual problems, because you're getting punished. 10-game suspension, that's a massive suspension, and you're going to get help whilst also getting a fine and a slap on the wrist for it. Now, if you do it more often, the punishment should get worse, but for a first-time offender, obviously we don't know how many times exactly he's been doing it or anything, but help the guy out, because it's clearly a problem that needs to be solved. You should also be telling youth players about this. You should be telling players from the ages of 12 upwards until they get in the first team, and be telling people in the first team, look, if you need a helpline, this is the helpline. If you need help from the Premier League or the Italian League or wherever, this is where you go. We will help you no matter what. And this is the danger of it. This is why you shouldn't do it. And these are the actual punishments if you get caught doing it. And it should be the set one unless it is a very extreme case. Because that way you're drilling it into them when they're younger. Look, these are the consequences for your actions. Don't do it. And then you're not going to have as big a problem. The other thing with that as well is ban gambling sponsors, because they're everywhere. Because I think back to the 90s, early 2000s, where a lot of like the teams in the Scottish League, for example, they had Carling, they had Strongbow, they had White and Mackay, they had sponsorships all over. Liverpool as well, they've had alcohol sponsorships. I'm pretty sure the majority of teams have. And then they are banned. You can't advertise any alcohol or anything like that. And look, it's been discouraged in that way. So why can't you do it for the gambling ones as well? Because having Ray Winston say bet responsibly, it's not a good look. You can't just be like, set a limit, bet responsibly. You're not doing enough in that regard. And alongside that as well, you think of the likes of Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney was playing in the Sky Bet Championship, Sky Bet League One, getting Player of the Month awards, the Sky Bet Awards for Player of the Month, who sponsor it. And then as well as that, he's got gambling all around the stadium, gambling on his shirt. And yeah, of course he's gambled. It doesn't make any sense why teams would have it. Obviously monetary value, and yes, they're going to be paying teams a massive premium that, maybe Save the Children can't do, but they should just be banned if the alcohol one was banned. Because what kind of message is that? Don't gamble, but if you get paid a lot of money by the gambling companies, just kind of go with what they say and really promote them? No, you can't do that. Ban. You can have adverts in the football or whatever. You see it all the time. The stupid Carling advert that constantly goes round where it's just so staged and horrible and cringe. But that's fine, they advertise that. That's not within the regulations of what can be advertised there. But plastering it around the ground, having gambling sponsors on your shirt, naming leagues after it, it's not good enough. And of course players are going to gamble from it. And look, the length of the ban, it's far too long. And that's why I think it's unfair on Sandro Tonali. Even if it was a shorter time, 6 months, anything like that, it's extreme, but hey ho, I can live with that. I think a 10-game ban would have been enough, plus rehabilitation centres. Yeah, that's fine. But it's unfair on him. It's unfair on Newcastle, because obviously they didn't know about this when they signed him. He's their new marquee signing, and look, he's out for the rest of the year. They're going to have to get a midfield replacement in January. It's just a massive ripple effect on everything involved there. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Sandro Tonali situation. Let me know what you guys think as well in the comments below. How long should the ban be? Do you actually think it's too short? How would you cut out the gambling problem that is in football? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you'd like to like, share, subscribe, helps the channel out massively as well. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, cheers.